Everything is personal right here. Everything is personal right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Everything is Personal. And our guest today is Benjamin L. Smith, not to be confused with the other Benjamin Smith. Make sure you remember it's the L. What's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm good. So we were just talking briefly before we sort of started. And I'm curious about this whole notion of what the root cause of dis-ease is, because we've gone down the road of so many different things in life and sort of addressing symptoms, right? So my elbow hurts. All right, well, you know what? There's a shot for that. We can give you a shot and your elbow's not going to hurt anymore. But maybe my elbow hurts. That's a signal of pain, that something else is going on. How do we address that? So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that in masking symptoms.
Sure, no problem. Well, thank you very much for having me, Len. And so how it works is medicine today has compartmentalized everything, right? So you have how many different, I think there's 50 different subspecialties in medicine, maybe 100. I don't know exactly. There's a throat and neck doctor, nose doctor. There's gastroenterologist. There's cardiologist. There's my dad. He's a dermatologist. He only studies skin. And so the problem is everything's related. So functional medicine, as you would call it, it's all one thing. It's all one problem. And so what most doctors don't do is they go, okay, my elbow hurts. It's got inflammation. Why does it have inflammation? Why is it hurting? No one asks the why questions. That's the problem. Nobody asks why. Because when you ask why, you get into the weeds or whatever about, oh, okay, this is why it's going on. And so that's the issue. And so what I did was, ever since I was a kid, I would just ask why. My dad got mad at me a lot of times because I'd say, hey, Dad, why is the sky blue? Is it because of the light reflecting? So I'd answer my own questions, right? And he'd go, Ben, you only asked that, you can answer it for me. I'm like, oh shit. He got all mad at me.
You know what's funny, Ben? I don't mean to interrupt, but it's just so funny because my parents used to call me the why guy. Like, that's all I did. I was so annoying to my parents because I kept asking why. And the only person that actually sat me down at patience was my grandmother. She would actually explain to me. Everybody else was like, this like why guy kid, like, you should be a lawyer one day, and that's what all they used to say to me. It's funny.
No, and it's right. And people that ask why are the ones that do, I'd say, brilliant things in the world because they're asking why, and so that's how I live my whole life. And so I've always been interested in health. I've run a car wash the last 30 years. I've actually owned a mobile car wash for 30 years, but I've always been into health. And ever since some of my family members got sick with cancer, passed away with cancer, diabetes, I'm like, this ain't cool. I'm like, and so then I started asking a lot of whys. I've been researching health for like 10 years. I've read like 500 articles. And reading articles on health is very difficult because I got to understand it. And half of them I don't understand because it's so technical, but I got to understand and simplify it into something simple so other people can understand it. Very challenging to do. And so what I did was I would just research tons of stuff: water, breathing, sleeping. I'm like, water, we'll talk about water later. Water's fascinating. And for the last 10 years, I've been just enthralled by water and what it does. So fast forward, so I've been studying that for a long time, or studying health, and then I thought my friend said, why don't you write a book on health? I'm like, oh, okay, I'll write a book. Oh, before that, I went to be a coach because I thought, how can I help people with my knowledge? So I thought I'll be a coach, and I'll be a health coach. So I took a coaching course, and then I was like, maybe I wanted some broader audience. I wanted to serve a broader audience. My friend goes, why write a book? Like, okay, I'll write a book. Oh, Len, that was, I've never written a book before, but talk about a pain in my ass Oh my God. And I'm losing tens of thousands of dollars on doing the wrong thing. These quick stories are funny. The listeners might like this, but my first time I writing a book, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll write a book. It'll take me an hour. It'll take me a couple months and I'll be rich. So what I did was I went online and I went to, we'll write your book for you. Like one of these, scammer things, right? $500 or something. I'm like, oh, cool, that's not much. I can deal with that. And long story short, they couldn't write to save their life. And so I had to let them go. They wrote like third graders. I'm like, what the hell is this? Then I found another ghostwriter who did a horrible job, and no one would have bought my book for this other. This is a professional ghostwriter, and they couldn't even write. Found another ghostwriter. Long story short, they helped me write the book, but they couldn't edit. Anyway, 3 years later, the book is done, and we start marketing it, and that's another challenge. So anyway, I've been doing this for about, studying health and working on my book for like last, 12, 13 years. And, but yeah, it's all about asking why. And that's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, it's called Why Are You Sick? I mean, here is the book for those who can see it, but you're asking the question. And also we talked about this too, the way that you wrote this book, like, I don't know, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but it's for like a third grader, like somebody, anybody can read this. The illustrations are on point. It gives you, I don't know if people can see, it gives you like, don't do this with a red X. Do this. I mean, how much more simple can it possibly get? It's fantastic the way you did that, and it talks about really, really important subject matters. And I want to get into something we talked about, hydration, all that stuff. But I want to talk to you about inflammation or hormonal imbalance. Two topics that you mentioned in the book, and I believe they're misunderstood. And I don't know, and you actually mentioned that as well. Which one of these do you feel is most misunderstood? And I'll come back and ask you, and why? Why do you feel that way?
I think they're both misunderstood. And the problem is nobody, I wouldn't say nobody, most people don't understand the underlying mechanisms of inflammation, hormone balance. And like we talked off air, everything, and I mean everything, not some things, everything is related to chronic dehydration. And what do I mean by that? It's not about just drinking some water. Oh, I'm drinking some water, I'm hydrated. That's not what it's about. It's about the balance between inflammation, hydration, chronic cellular stress or lack of mitochondrial function and immune system function. And you remember in the book, so it's all those four circles are around the outside, and the center circle is cellular stress. So what I mean by that, dehydration is one of the key players there. What that does, the body is always trying to manage water. Okay, so all of your problems are a result of chronic dehydration, whether it's a migraine, whether it's Alzheimer's, whether it's diabetes, it doesn't matter. Because what's going on is when you have insults like sugar, seed oils, stress, toxins in the environment, all that causes stress. And like I write in my book, chronic stress equals chronic dehydration, which equals chronic inflammation, right? Which equals mitochondrial dysfunction, which equals immune system suppression. So this balance, it has to be this balance between all those, but the chronic dehydration the inflammation is causing chronic dehydration, and the chronic dehydration is causing inflammation. So the body's always trying to manage water every second of every day. And that's what most people don't understand. And something that people do understand is they understand that sugar causes, when you eat a lot of carbs, it raises your insulin. We've all heard the term insulin, sugar, and diabetes. Well, what's going on? It's causing stress on the body because it's causing inflammation and dehydration. Because I write in the book, I say, when you mix water and sugar together, you get a syrup. So the body has to remove that sugar as quickly as possible. Otherwise, the blood doesn't flow. And no one thinks of it like that. That's why sugar is bad. It's not bad in and of itself. It's bad because it causes chronic dehydration, like everything else on my model.
Yeah, I want to get into your origin story a little bit, but before
Yeah,
that, I want to ask one more question to piggyback
yeah,
on what you just said.
yeah,
How is stress, how is, I guess, dehydration related to stress, and how is stress related to dehydration? I want to unpack that
yeah.
a little
Good,
bit
good
more.
question. Good question. So, there's this couple books that I read all the time. There are this Indian doctor who wrote these books. Your body's not, you're not sick, you're thirsty. And this guy talks about water and how water is the dehydration is at the root cause of and contributes to all problems and diseases. And so what he said was stress, the body needs a certain amount of water at all times. So when you cause dehydration, then the body has to prioritize water in certain places. So let's say you're drinking coffee all the time, you're eating a bunch of carbs all the time, sugar, you're stressed out. That's depleting the water, right? So what the body, and then that causes actually high blood pressure, because what the body has to do is it has to manage its water all the time. So it puts water in organs that are most important by causing it causes the cells to activate a receptor that turns the cell into like a shower head type of system where it will inject water into vital cells. But it has to squeeze the rest of the vasculature to do that. It's kind of like the body's like, oh shit, we don't have enough water. So it has to, you know what I'm saying? So it has to prioritize it, the brain, the heart, the lungs, the lip, right?
Yeah,
And
it's
then,
prioritize critical functions because
yeah,
it needs to manage energy and
yes.
hydration effectively. Because if you're not getting enough, then your mitochondria is working overtime. It's not actually producing enough ATP energy to for the other cells. So it needs to prioritize the ones that are vital.
Yes, that's exactly right. So it's prioritizing what's vital, and it's always this constant management system.
Mhm.
And so that causes stress on the cells, which causes inflammation, which causes more stress, which causes more dehydration. So that's why all those circles are on my model like that, because it's a constant back and forth. And when you do things on the green side, we can talk about my model later if you want. On the green side, it reduces that stress because you're boosting hydration by boosting mitochondrial function or whatever, right, or whatever it might be, and you're minimizing the red stuff on the red side, which is causing dehydration, which you don't want to do.
Right. Makes sense. So I want to go dive a little bit into the ultimate health model, but before I do that, I want to talk about your origin story. Where did you grow up?
I was born in Los Angeles, Santa Monica, and to a mother and father, and my mom was really not my real mom. My stepmom, who's around now, is awesome. My real mom was not nice to me and was very critical, very selfish, and so it was it was not good for me. Anyway, so I grew up in LA for about the first 7 years, and I moved to Northern California, the San Francisco Bay Area where I am now, and been there ever since. I went to Humboldt State back in 1987 to go to school.
Did
I
you have
went to,
siblings or
yeah. I had three sisters. I only have two sisters now. I have one stepsister, but so I have three sisters, but I had four
uh,
or three, but one passed away from cancer. And but yes, I went to Humboldt State and I started a bunch of science stuff, and then I came back to where I live now. Humboldt State's in Eureka area, California. And I came back to where I am now, started my car wash, and then been doing that for 30 years.
so did you were your parents together were they together when you were a kid and you moved from the LA
Yeah.
area to the Bay Area after they got divorced? Is that
Yeah. Well, my mom moved up here when she
okay?
divorced my dad
Okay.
to the Bay Area. I live in a place called Santa Rosa,
Uh-huh.
which is, do you know where that is?
Oh yeah, yeah. I used to Emerald Triangle. I used to go to a cannabis conference there.
Ah, there you
Yeah.
go.
I'm very familiar with Santa
Yeah,
Rosa.
Sarah, yeah. Where are you?
LA.
Oh, you're in LA. Okay, yeah. So I was born in Santa Monica. I lived right off freeway at Sunset and the freeway.
Yeah.
So on Church Lane,
Yeah, got
you
it.
know, right there in West LA. So I lived on a street called Elderwood, right there off the freeway.
Yep.
Up until I was 7. You know where that is?
Yeah.
Now my parents live in the Hollywood Riviera, over the Palos Verdes Redondo. You know where that is, Torrance area.
Yeah. So how old were you when your parents got divorced?
7, I think 8, something like that.
And then you ended up living with your mom, correct?
Yes.
So, and you said that your mom wasn't really nice to you. How'd that affect your childhood, living with a parent and not, getting to see the other parent maybe as much?
Well, yeah, my dad would, they had visitation rights and all that, but it was me and my 3 sisters, and my mom, my real mom, was really selfish and very controlling, and she didn't like my dad. And so since she didn't like my dad, she didn't like me. She loved me. I mean, I don't know exactly, how she felt, but I was always treated badly. I was put in my room for a whole year.
Wow.
because she said I was controlling the household or something. And so that's kind of where my imagination started. I had to kind of, think about stuff. And I actually wrote a couple short stories when I was in my room, I remember. But I had to have a good imagination because I was in my room for a whole year.
Well, I was going to ask you sort of, what were your interests as a kid? Were you into sports? Were you into, like, I think you just said writing, math? What were you into as a kid?
Just learning. I played sports when I was in my junior high years. Nothing in high school. It was, I liked science. I just liked to learn, and I liked outdoor stuff. Hiking, whatever kids like to do. But I wasn't really passionate about anything. I do remember liking health when I was young, not like super young, maybe 15, 17. I was like, hey, doctor sounds kind of cool. This is really interesting. But it was kind of general stuff kids like when I was younger.
Got it. So when you started, you had a trajectory in your life, and you did the car wash business and all that stuff. What was the moment where you said, okay, you know what, at this point in time, I need to question things about health and wellness, and I want to sort of pivot and, do this trajectory that you have now, which is health, basically?
Yeah. So when my sister got sick, like in 2008 or something, I started kind of questioning it, one of my sisters. And then in 2012, when she passed away, I was like, I started reading a lot of stuff about Buddhism and where, life after death, and just kind of, that kind of spiritual stuff. And I was questioning myself, why is this happening? It just kind of not questioning the science per se or doctors, but just kind of curiosity. And then I remember in 2014, I was dating a woman, and she would get bottled water from a company, from a natural spring, and it tasted really good. And then I just started getting really fascinated by water. I don't know why. I'm like, water's pretty cool. Let me think about this stuff. And once again, that why thing. So I would always ask myself, well, if everything is perfect in the universe and the world and everything, then why is water doing this? Why is it doing this? Or whatever. And so I watched a documentary. I write this in the book. Remember, I write water. Oh God, what's it called? Water, the Great Mystery, or something. And I love that movie. And the guy started talking about water might be the most malleable computer we know. I'm like, what the and you've read that part. It's like, it's a computer.
Yeah.
It's a computer. Water is a computer, and we're all biological robots. So I would just put 1 and 2 together and go, oh, that equals that. Oh my God, that's that. Just the other day, I was looking into the myelin sheaths that cover the nerve cells that protect, and they're made of cholesterol. I thought, That's exactly like rubber covering a wire. So it's the same thing. So I don't know if we've been designed. I wasn't there, a billion years ago, but sure damn things, sounds like it makes sense to me. So yeah, so it just all comes together. Like, I just do a lot of deep thinking. A lot of people are too busy to do, or they don't care, or whatever. But I thought, hey, that makes sense. So I would just question all these things.
So and I wanted you to talk about the ultimate health model. I want people to understand what that is. And was your goal to sort of challenge the conventional healthcare approaches when you put this together? So people, like the individual reader, has that information and then they can go and address that with their healthcare professional? Or were you also hoping that the healthcare professional will read this and sort of modify the way that they approach health and wellness?
Kind of both. I was thinking, doctors are good people. Physicians are not. They're doing what they're told, but they don't have time to think like this. They're too busy. They're just doing what what they've been trained to do and all that. And so I think for me, it's a little bit of both, to help the individual understand what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
and just to understand at a root cause why this is happening. And then if you want to take pills, go ahead. But if you want to eat crappy, then do it. But at least you're taking responsibility for what you're doing. And I think that's the difference. Because I personally, we're on computers right now, and as you know, on the model, all technology, all EMFs are causing inflammation. But we have to do this because this is just, we're in this modern era. My point is that, you do the best you can. But at least if you have the information, you can make an informed decision on what you want to do.
Yeah, I agree with that
Period.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was the goal of our company on genetic testing. You can do whatever you want to do, but you're empowered with information to make smart choices, and that's up to you. If you choose not to do that, an example, like I think I'm one of those people I'm a coffee drinker, right? And you talk about dehydration. So in my mind, even knowing that it's not 100% true, if I'm drinking a 20-ounce coffee, I'm getting water with that. But am I really getting water with it because I'm getting caffeine? So maybe you can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so you're getting water, but I can write in my book that orange juice has water, coffee has water, but they also have sugar. And so the water you're getting from your coffee doesn't really matter as much, because it's the caffeine, which is a stimulant, which is a plant toxin basically, is causing stress, which is causing dehydration. So when you go back to my model and just they all equal together, then you can see what that's doing. So all plants have toxins in them, and a lot of people understand this, that it's just kind of obvious thinking to me. But caffeine is if it makes your heart race, and the plant's trying to kill you, but it can't kill you because you're too big. It'll kill an insect, but the caffeine's not going to kill you. It's not there for your pleasure. It's not there to like, oh, hey, the plant's like, you know what, Len, I'm going to give you some caffeine because I love you. And it's not like that. Or even like something like a hot pepper. I love hot peppers. I gotta start sweating, and my heart starts racing, start tingling. What do you think it's doing? It's trying to kill you. Right? And no one thinks of it like that. Onions, they make your eyes water. For what? They're not doing it to make you happy. They're not tears of happiness. So a lot of people don't understand that there's a lot the plants are the most advanced chemists on the planet. There's like a million or tens, I don't know exactly. There's so many chemicals in there that we never even discovered that are so intricate and so incredibly, I'd say helpful and hurtful at the same time, because the plant is making these antioxidants, all these things for itself, not for you, but you do get some kind of benefit from it.
Right.
because it's causing a adaptive stress. Remember writing the book, Adaptive Stress versus Chronic Stress. So when you eat a little bit of vegetables, it causes adaptive stress, which is super beneficial. When you eat a ton of vegetables, it causes chronic stress. And the chronic stress, the way we want to stay away from, the adaptive stress is actually beneficial.
Yeah, and also like, just to add to that, we all have our own individual microbiome, for instance.
Yes,
So
yes.
if you're eating certain vegetables, you can think that they're maybe healthy for you, but your gut microbiome isn't metabolizing those vegetables and it's creating inflammation. So
Yes.
people are like, oh man, I'm eating salads every day. Look at me, bell peppers. Well, when I did my microbiome test, it showed me the bell peppers are actually inflammatory to me. So if you don't know this, you think you're eating healthy and then you're bloated and all these other things are happening to you. So you have to understand, your own chemistry because we're all individuals.
Yeah, we are. And that's a good point to bring up because I'll go to Mary something, Mary Reddick, who's I love this lady. She's studied with tribes in Africa and the Hunza and all these. So she knows this shit cold, and she knows how the microbiome works. And she talks about on her YouTube videos, the microbiome is different for everybody, and it's not about diversity. I think that's important for the listeners to understand. A lot of people think, oh, the more diverse my microbiome is, then the better off I am. That's not what it's about. It's about whatever the microbiome is for you. So if you're a carnivore or a vegan, you could have a super narrow microbiome or a super diverse one. And it also can change within days, hours, I don't know if it's hours, days. You can change your microbiome weeks and change it back and forth. And all the things on my model will, on the green side, will help to have an optimal microbiome for you. All things on the red side will have a detrimental microbiome.
Right.
That's what's so important about, that's so incredible about my model. It's almost like a living thing. I don't know how I created it. It must have came from God, but I was like, this thing answers every question you can think of. I don't know how I did it.
Yeah, and it's really simple, and it's really simple to understand. You said it right. Here's one column, here's the other column, green, red. The thing that I wanted to ask you about is environmental factors. So environmental factors that cause chronic illness and that persistent, conditions of stress and inflammation, all those other things. What are some of those environmental factors, and what lifestyle changes do you suggest that people make in order to mitigate the expression of some of these, their impact?
So pesticides obviously are bad. Pollution in the air. You live in Los Angeles. Anything I write on my model, any man-made chemical is going to cause some level of chronic dehydration, chronic inflammation, and chronic stress on the cells. And it's all to different degrees. So, and that's why kids most kids are healthy, most adults or older people become unhealthy because they built up so much chronic inflammation, so much mitochondrial dysfunction that the mitochondria starts, giving up basically. But the toxins, it's the plastics in the air or plastic in the environment. It's the pesticides. It's the stuff you wouldn't even think about. Any kind of man-made chemical. Your dishwashing detergent that's left behind on your dishes. Your shampoo, your conditioner, whatever it is. All these things will cause some kind of inflammation in the body. So you put that shampoo on your head, and it's not going to kill you immediately, obviously, but it's causing a reaction, some kind of chronic inflammation. The body will deal with it because that's what it does. But you want to limit the amount of chronic inflammation that you're exposed to every day to keep yourself as healthy as possible.
Yeah, and we already talked about it. The body's having to deal with different things that are exogenous or coming
all
in.
day long.
Yeah, so it's not, but you have other things that the body can be doing that are beneficial. So if it's busy here, and that's why people they think, oh, I get a cold because it's cold out. Well, no, it's because your immune system is busy working, and you have exposure to other conditions as people get sick.
It's busy. So if someone gets sick, it's because the immune system is busy fighting the pollution in the air, the
Right.
glyphosate in your food,
Right.
the toxins in your water, the toxins in the air, your negative thoughts, the EMS world. It's so many things.
You describe the importance of circadian rhythm. Maybe you can also expand on that a little bit. Why is that important? And what is it, and why is that important to optimize health and wellness?
Yeah, so circadian rhythms is the biological rhythms of the body, basically.
Mhm.
And that's why we're in these classes, because circadian rhythms are basically the body does certain things in the day and certain things at night, right? So the way, like, so it'll digest food in the day and it'll start repairing cells at night and rebuilding things, repairing things. So I kind of make this analogy. I think I say this in the book. Imagine a factory where you come to work in a factory and one person's on their phone, one person's working, one person's playing, one person is shooting hoops, one person is, swimming in the swimming. How's stuff gonna get done?
Mhm.
Because it's all over the board. There is no rhyme or reason. It's all chaotic. So circadian rhythms, when you do things on the red side, you disrupt the circadian rhythms, and especially at night, people need to get these glasses. The blue light is so bad because it's only supposed to be on you on the daytime. When people are exposed to these LED lights and artificial lights and all these things at night, that's completely disrupting your circadian rhythms. So what does that mean? So if it's disrupting circadian rhythms, it's causing chronic inflammation, and just like we said, that domino effect of all those other things, the dehydration. So it all comes back to the same thing.
Have you had any feedback? And I don't want to say that you're critical of quote unquote traditional healthcare. You're critical of certain aspects of traditional sick care. I just want to make sure that people understand that. Have you had any response from the medical professional community regarding your book and what their thoughts were on it?
No, I had a retired doctor read it or something who loved it. I think it was a retired doctor on Amazon. No, I haven't had anyone say anything about it because I think they understand that. And I remember I write in the book, I said, I'm not bashing big pharma or big food. I still eat potato chips once in a while. I basically eat the same thing every day just because it's just easy for me. But it's not about that. And I think a lot of people talk about on YouTube and all these things about, oh, big pharma is bad and big food and we got to change up. We've had big pharma for 100 years. And we've had big food for 100 years. So don't stop blaming them. Everyone blames them. I'm sick of it. It's everything together. And what no one's talking about is technology. And the fact these unnatural frequencies are causing a problem. And that we cannot go back in technology. So we have to figure something out. So that's why doing the things on the green side and not on the red side the best you can. But no, it's not about bashing these people because they're not the fault. People eat too much sugar because they're chronically dehydrated. So it's because their body that's causing inflammation, which is messing with leptin and adrenaline and all those hormones, right? It's all the same problem.
So, okay, I want people to really understand this ultimate health model and aligning with lifestyle choices. So if you were to tell somebody like, and they don't see your book, and I want people to go out and get your book, and we'll talk about it several times. But right now, you're talking to my audience. What would be the most impactful lifestyle modifications that people should be taking in order to align with the ultimate health model that you have?
Nose breathing. Remember I talked about breathing, the breathing chakra is fascinating.
Oh yeah. Close your mouth.
Close your mouth. It's a matter of life and death. Why I say that? Because the lungs are very delicate. They're not meant to be taking in air without it being filtered, humidified, pressurized, deodorized, or not deodorized, disinfected, all these things. So breathing through your nose is like you're giving your lungs the proper air it needs. Not to mention, I talk about in the book, when you mouth breathe, you get less oxygen, not more, because you're breathing out too much carbon dioxide, and you need carbon dioxide and red blood and oxygen in balance, or not balance, on the red blood cells, because when there's a bunch of carbon dioxide built up, then it's able to release the oxygen from the red blood cells. If you're breathing out too much, the oxygen stays stuck on the red blood cells, does go to the cells where they need it. That's why when you hyperventilate, they tell you to breathe in a paper bag. So you breathe back, right in that book. So you breathe back more carbon dioxide into your lungs.
Yeah.
Keeping your mouth shut is critical at night.
Yeah.
Go to my website, ultimatehealthmodel.com. You get mouth strips. You have to keep your mouth shut, because that, and I guess, like I say in the book, nothing causes anything. It's just contributory. Mouth breathing contributes to every possible disease, even stuff you don't think about. Remember, I wrote about in the book about SIBO?
Yeah.
SIBO is contributed by mouth breathing. Your Alzheimer's, your arthritis, your something you couldn't even think about, Crohn's disease. Be like, what? They talk about, yes. They don't. It's too hard to wrap their head around that. The other one, go ahead.
No, I was going to say not only sleeping, but like for me, for instance, hiking. Like I love to hike, and I go out with friends of mine, and I hear them, and I'm like, breathe through your nose, and they try, and I'm like, get the mouth tape it, and get yourself to be aligned. You're in nature. Like get all that beautiful oxygen in and breathe in through your nose. I mean, it's a great.
Well, and here's the other point about that, Len. When you breathe through, the more you breathe through your mouth, the less you can breathe through your nose, because you cause inflammation. So carbs, sugar, stress, all these things. Then you cause inflammation in the nasal passages. Then you have to breathe through your mouth. Then the more you breathe through your mouth, the more your nose plugs up. It's a vicious circle. So you have to train your mouth to stay shut as best you can, as long as you can, and it'll finally open up. It just, you have to put that time in and do that, because this is more important than food. Remember, I write in the book that breathing is more important than food, exercise. Everyone talks about food and exercise. No one talks about breathing. Breathing is more important.
Yeah, 100% agree. I don't know if you wrote about this in the book, but as your younger self, were you into health and wellness? And then part 1A of that question, if you were to go back now, knowing what you know now, what would you suggest to your younger self that you can modify that you didn't do?
I smacked myself. Well, what the fuck? God damn. Hold on. Remember when I write in the book about baldness?
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, and I was pissed. I write in the book, I said, you're telling me that being bald is an autoimmune condition? It's not genetic?
Yeah.
It's 1%. It's autoimmune, just like Crohn's, just like all these things. And so my autoimmune condition manifests itself as baldness. I'm like, God damn it. If I would have stopped eating carbs all long ago, stop stressing, stop mouth breathing, I might have my hair.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great reason.
Yeah, it pisses me off. And so all the people listening, young guys, say, trust me, buy my book, understand this, because you might still lose your hair, but I promise you'll keep a lot more of it if you stop mouth breathing, eating a bunch of processed food, because it's causing inflammation. That inflammation causes inflammation of the gut lining, right? And then, which is autoimmune, so then the food particles go into the bloodstream, causing autoimmune reactions, because the body's trying to fight these things. Then it goes to your head, your hair starts killing, the protein, whatever in your hair. It's all the same thing. So I think people really need to understand that point. Not to mention asthma. Remember, I talk about asthma in the book.
Yeah.
If I would have kept my mouth shut, I almost died from it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, you live and learn, and now I know. And so that's why with my book, I want to help as many people that are suffering these conditions that, they don't have to, because the people just didn't know. They didn't know that nose mouth breathing was that bad. They didn't know that this did this. Because they just didn't think about the way I put all this together. It was like just like aha moments. I'm like, oh, and then I would cross-reference it 100 times. I'm like, so does mouth breathing contribute to Alzheimer's? And it would say yes, because it causes inflammation. Oh, inflammation is mouth breathing. Oh, so it's all this. So I put the puzzle pieces together, and so I do that hundreds of times, Len. Going, okay, well, how's diabetes caused by, mouth breathing? Oh, because inflammation causes stress, and everyone knows inflammation causes possibly diabetes, right? So I just put it all together.
Yeah, autoimmune. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was wondering, so I'm a person that has ADD or whatever. I was diagnosed with it when I was a kid. To me, it's always been a superpower. But one of the things is I try not to think about certain things. So there's rituals throughout the day that I have to do. And you mentioned this earlier, I think probably before we even started the podcast, that you eat sort of the same thing. So I wanted to know what your daily habits and rituals are that you perpetuate on a daily basis that align with
Absolutely.
your philosophy.
Yeah. So every morning I wake up and I walk for 15 minutes to get the morning sun on my skin and my eyes without sunglasses, because UV light, UVA light, UVB light is critical for your for the structure of the water in the body. We could talk about another podcast, but it basically, light is so important for the mitochondria. Light, oxygen, and electrons. So you got the morning light. It starts the production of cortisol. Which is actually anti-inflammatory if it's kept in check. It starts to build gut microbiome. It builds the gut microbiome. It reduces blood pressure, lowers cholesterol. All these things. You kind of start setting the body into balance. You wake up in the morning, get up, you walk for 15 minutes in the light, and you don't look directly at the sun, but you have that sun on your face, on your skin, and that's setting your day and your body's rhythms. After that, I'll meditate for maybe 5-10 minutes. Just depends how busy I am. I'll eat some eggs, some bacon, and I don't eat many vegetables. We can talk about that another time if you want. And then I'll go to work. I'll do what I'm doing during the day. I eat the same thing, and then I'll eat some beef at lunchtime. Maybe a couple of veggies here and there. I don't eat any grains. I eat a tiny bit of rice, but now that I don't eat grains like breads or cereals, if I do eat a tiny little bit, I feel really kind of jittery. I don't like it because my body's not used to it. And then at nighttime, same thing. I'll eat a few veggies, a couple potato chips. I'm just really addicted to potato chips. I like the salt. But
I was going to ask you what your guilty pleasure was, but I guess it's potato chips.
Yeah, I mean, but I eat the same thing every day. It just makes it so easy.
Yeah.
And like I write in the book, our ancestors did. Oh, and then at night before the sun sets, I'll walk for 15 minutes because that starts the production of melatonin. It starts the rest and repair cycle in the cells, and starts everything for the body to start repairing itself. And melatonin is critical. Remember, I write in the book, it's like the most important antioxidant in the body, period.
What are your thoughts about, I just want people to hear this, about consuming melatonin as a supplement, quote unquote?
I wouldn't personally, because it might throw off the balance of the melatonin you make in your body. Not like a vitamin D supplement or all these other supplements. They're all supposed to be in balance. So we take a bunch of one, or calcium. Well, calcium is really bad as a supplement, but I believe that they should be in balance. And what I do take is something called fulvic and humic acid. Remember I wrote about that in the book?
Yeah, folic acid. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
just want people to know that there is a mutation, MTHFR. So we want to make sure that, if people can metabolize folic acid, they should know.
No, not folic, fulvic.
Oh,
Remember
fulvic. Yeah.
Remember,
Sorry,
it's
I
stuff,
misheard.
yeah, that's okay. The stuff that comes from the ground. So
Yep.
fulvic and humic acid are these acids made by the microbes in the ground,
Hmm.
in the soil that
Yep.
feed the plants.
Hmm.
So the plants get water and sunlight, but they get the minerals from the ground, from the soil, are uptaken by these microbes that deliver it to the plant,
Right.
because that's how the plants get the minerals,
Yep.
right? And so these microbes are like cargo ships. They take all these minerals and everything to the plant. And so when you take that supplement, you're getting all the trace minerals that are depleted in the soil today. And so I highly recommend people take this supplement, fulvic and humic acid, because that's where you'll get the balance of the minerals, the calcium, whatever you need, and the correct balance as nature provided in the soil,
Mhm.
as opposed to synthetic substances that take too much vitamin D3 or whatever, that it's just not in balance, which is probably going to cause inflammation. I mean, there's no studies on that, but probably.
What are your thoughts on plant medicine in general?
Plant medicine, I think, plants are medicinal for medicinal purposes.
Mhm.
Our ancient, even the Native Americans, all the ancients, they would use plants for medicinal purposes. Aloe vera is for your skin, for if you burn yourself. So there's plenty of places for plants, and because they do have a lot of healing properties like that. I think we just consume way too many of them. I think also that it's the refined stuff. So, like I say in my model, if you want to eat, a bunch of vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, whatever, and meats and cheeses, everything that just comes from that's not processed.
Yeah.
You're 100 times better off than eating processed food. It's not rocket science. You just don't eat the processed stuff because it's devoid of water, it's devoid of minerals. And just like my book says on my model, what's my book say? It says the body needs three things on a continual, consistent basis: water, minerals, and salt.
Yeah.
So if you're eating processed food, there's no water, there's no minerals, there's a lot of salt, but you're missing the other two. So the body's going to be constantly, remember that I read in the book, the body's constantly craving these things because it's looking for water. You eat a vegan diet or something like that with a bunch of vegetables, you get a lot of water. The body's going, okay, wait, we got the water we need. Might be missing some, essential things here and there. We can, it's another topic for another day, but just eat real food. It's got water, salt, and minerals in it.
Yeah,
It's not rocket science.
Yeah, if you
People make it so.
you eat real food, you don't have to take a bunch of supplement pills because you're getting it from your.
Well, but there's a caveat to it, because you do have to take the fulvic and humic, because the soil, unless you're growing your own stuff, so the soil's been depleted. You can't really rely on the soil if you're eating commercially, grown food, or you're at the market, whatever. And the fulvic and humic is definitely a good idea because the soil is not in the best of shape.
Ben, do you have a go-to stress relieving activity? Like something that you go to relieve stress? Like you mentioned, sometimes meditation. Is there anything that
Yeah,
on that
I play
stressful day? This is what
I
I
play
do.
guitar. I play guitar. Yeah, I have a guitar I play. Just that and deep breaths, realizing, for me, I just realize everything's the way it's supposed to be. Even the world we live in today, with all the division, it doesn't matter, because if you believe your life will work out, it will. If you believe it won't, it won't. It's that simple.
Yeah, they're both true. You're absolutely.
They're both true. And one of my favorite authors, or one of my favorite educators, is Bruce Lipton.
Yeah.
For all the people listening, if you know what Bruce Lipton is,
Of course, yeah.
incredible guy. Everything he talks about, I write down. It's like, okay, what did he say? I got to rewind that. Okay, said this. And one thing he said was fascinating. He said this about the cells. He said the membrane receptors on the cells and the cell membrane is like the microprocessor of a computer. Remember we talked about how we're all computers? Every cell is a computer. So
Oh
the
yeah, I
micro
mean he's the biology of belief.
yeah,
I
yeah,
read his book a long time ago.
yeah,
I seen him
incredible,
speak. Yeah, it's fantastic.
incredible.
I agree. So since you brought up music, and I ask all my guests some music questions, if we can kind of shift mental gears for a minute. Do you remember, and if so, what was the very first concert that you attended?
Oh God. I think it was the Rolling Stones.
That's that's a pretty good one for your very
Yeah,
first one.
yeah, it was the Rolling Stones in 1989. I think the Steel
Yeah.
Wheels tour. I'm not sure. I haven't seen a lot of concerts.
What
I
was the
got,
last one that you attended, if you remember?
oh God, it was just some garage band in the local town here somewhere I don't remember. It was nothing. It was just kind of a local band. It wasn't no one famous. Yeah.
I'm gonna then try another music question that
Yeah.
ask my my guests. For the next year, you can only listen to 5 albums. Now,
Oh
you don't
God.
have to remember, you don't have to know the name of the album. You don't have to say it's
Oh
the Rolling
no,
Stones,
that's
but
hard,
it would
man.
be,
Shit.
I know, it's a moment in time, man, because
Oh shit. Okay,
if
okay,
somebody
okay.
had
All right, all right, all right,
five
all right.
albums.
Okay, it's Duran Rio. Incredible. Those guys are everyone thinks they're all fluffy and a bunch of glam boys. Their musicianship is incredible. Um oh god, that probably Iron Maiden. Definitely Iron Maiden. Their musicianship's incredible. Leonard Skinner, no question about it. Oh God, so hard. What do I listen to? I'm listening to stuff. AC/DC, probably high voltage. So yeah, I like the old stuff. And then, oh God, I'd say the Cars. The first album, incredible musicians. I think the musicians back then, they didn't have the all everything was digital, all the computers doing everything. It was all they had to play their music.
Yeah.
And it seems like today it's all the same shit. It sounds like the same shit. The pop, I mean, all these pop stars, the music is just boring. I don't know if people like it. I mean, if they heard Duran, the old, it's like this incredible musicianship. I don't know. I
It's
mean,
funny.
I don't.
It all comes back. So I have almost a 20-year-old daughter, and I was we had parents' weekend. She goes to Berkeley, Cal.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So they had parents' weekend. We went to a frat party, and they just played 80s music the whole time. The kids knew
yeah,
all the words to the songs. It was like,
yeah,
really? It's back? It was great to hear. So it was pretty cool.
yeah.
Speaking of that, all right. So final question I ask all my guests. Please describe what your room looked like growing up.
Oh man. And that's my downfall is I am kind of messy and I'm trying to work on it, but there's something I don't know. I have like my desk. It's got stuff kind of placed everywhere. I was never able to get organized, and I'm working on it. The especially with what I'm doing now, my book and getting being kind of my name out there. I got to be a little more organized. So that's a tough one for me. I just don't know why I can't get my stuff to I'm not OCD and I'm not a hoarder, but it's just not like everything has place.
So what your room looked like when you were growing up.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
So just a mess. But did you
No, it wasn't it wasn't
you
like
had stuff
big
everywhere?
Yeah,
But did
yeah.
you have posters in the wall? Like what paint a visual picture of what it looked like besides that you had stuff everywhere?
Yeah.
Carpet, bed,
Yeah, I mean, it was just a typical room. I had, toys I played with. I had, posters on the wall of bands I liked.
Do you remember any specific ones?
Oh, I remember some black light posters.
Okay, cool.
The fuzzy things.
Yeah,
Remember
I had one. I had
the
a
fuzzy
Jimi Hendrix
ones?
one and I had a Bruce Lee one. So yeah, I
Yeah,
remember. Yeah.
yeah. I had that. But the poster I remember is, but this is when I was adult, so it's only, besides the black light ones, I had this, I think it's 350 or something, the Dirty Words by George Carlin.
There you go.
Yeah, it was hilarious because he would sit there, it was like about 500 dirtiest words, and it was just hilarious. But that, I remember having that on my wall when I was, early 20s, something like that. But as far as other, I think black light posters and, just this typical kid stuff.
So, Ben, where can people, I'm going to show you your book again. Where can people order your book, Why Are You Sick? By Benjamin L. Smith. Where can people get your book? Where can they engage with the content? Anything else you want to share with my audience?
Absolutely. So they get my book at ultimatehealthmodel.com. They can find my podcast at Ultimate Health Model Podcast on all streaming platforms. And on Instagram at Ultimate Health Model. We have a lot of interesting stuff there. Every day I put up a different interesting fact that people might or might not know about, but we engage on there a lot. So ultimatehealthmodel.com is where they'll find, they can get our book there, order that, go to Amazon. We also have, for anyone listening, I know there's a lot of health books out there, and there are tons of them are really different, as Len can testify. So I really encourage people to buy it. We actually won an award with my book for the listening audience. Yeah, which is a lot of health books don't win awards. Maybe something a fiction, something, but we actually won a literary award. And all the reviews on Amazon are like five stars. I got a couple of 4.9s. Yeah. And so I think they're gonna really like it. And there's a lot of shitty books out there. I mean, there's so many of health books on how to lose weight, how to get six-pack abs, the keto diet, this diet, right? They're all the same. I wouldn't say they're all the same thing, but this is a really different, unique way of looking at things that people are going to find just fascinating, engaging, and everything you're saying about it.
Yeah. No, I highly recommend it as well. And I just want to say not only for the content itself, but also the way that it was created. It's very, very easy for people to follow along. And, like my ADD brain, looking at a book, it's sort of, I start dozing off or thinking about different things, but this keeps you really engaged.
Yeah.
I love the illustration.
Yeah. One thing before you go, open that book up again, because I want to get this message out too. Any teachers out there, I open up the book to the page with the cell pictures. This is very interesting educational tools that could be very helpful for children to learn biology. Yeah. And for any teachers out there listening, so show them that, but there's a key right there. Yep. But then go to the next page where we discuss how a cell is like a city. Yeah. And there's a healthy city and an unhealthy city.
Yep, the analogies.
Yeah, that would really help kids to learn who are visual learners. So any teachers listening to this, please buy this. Please tell your staff or whatever, and get this into classrooms as posters to help kids, because it's a remarkable learning tool for them to go, oh, that's what mitochondria does. That's what the glycosyl. Oh, because it all makes sense when they look at it.
Absolutely. Great. And for my audience, thank you for listening. And, if you stayed this long, then you must have found this to be engaging, interesting content. So I appreciate it. Thank you for all the wonderful reviews. Been great. And thank you for sharing the podcast. I mean, my listenership has really increased, and please continue sharing and give me your feedback and reviews. I'm always looking to improve. So I definitely appreciate it. And thank you for buying my book as well, Making Cannabis Personal, on Amazon or wherever you get books. And Ben, once again, I really want to thank you for being on. It's been really enlightening. You do great work. This is extremely, extremely important. I really feel that people really need to look at their health and wellness. Being empowered with information you collaborate with your healthcare professional instead of having this relationship with your healthcare professional that you come in and they say, take 2 of these and you leave. It's a partnership. And that's what we're looking to do is real healthcare, preventative healthcare, and you can help yourself and your healthcare professionals. So thank you so much for being on. Really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, man.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching and listening. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, share this episode, and hit that bell. Like, comment. I so appreciate that. And check me out on social under Len May or Len May DNA. Find out more on LinkedIn or lenmaycoaching.com. And remember, everything is personal.